to InGame Live Prime Time on this terrific Tuesday. Scott Wetzel, Sharapan for the next 2 glorious hours, right up until 10 p.m. Eastern Time, covering, watching, and more importantly, betting on the world of sports. It's a beautiful thing. College basketball, Dave, and NHL taking center stage. Do have some big news out of college football that I want to get to that I think is going to cause a little chaos. What else is new in college football? We got our Black Cloud. We got a little same-game parlay action, so busy couple of hours. How are you, my friend? What's on your plate this evening?
I'm good. Yeah, a lot of college basketball, some good matchups. Butler and Villanova early, and then there's a couple other ones later, which I'm sure we'll get to. Nice slate of hockey after yesterday owning the day. I thought the NHL did a really good job of scheduling games from morning until mid-afternoon here out west. That was great. Followed up with some good matchups. The college football news, is that the playoff information? The way that's going to come out? Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why college football, Dave, feels like it needs to open up a can of worms. I mean, it's a 5-year-old can already figure out there's going to be controversy when you have a 9-3 Memphis team, winners of a Conference USA, getting an automatic, in essence, bid. And you're going to have a 2 or 3 loss Alabama or Georgia or Oklahoma not get in, yet a 3-loss Memphis or SMU or Liberty goofy team is, because they guaranteed a spot for the top 5 conferences when you don't have 5 power conferences. I don't get it.
Hey, they revamped it from 6. They had 6 and 6 at large and went to 5 and 7. And listen, it's the first year. And I'm sure if it doesn't work, or, they want to figure out a way to get another SEC team in, they will. But I was just talking about it with K-Dub. There's going to be odds on to make the college football playoff with a 12-team playoff for the first time ever. So making the numbers is going to be tough. Taking the bets is even going to be, tougher, more fun. I mean, because I think there'll be so much speculative buying on teams to make the playoff. But realistically, Scott, is it going to make for better games? We're still going to have, there may be one good first-round game. Otherwise, it's going to be a really good Power 5 team against a team, like you just said, in their home field, double-digit or more favorites. I mean, we might see a playoff game with a favorite of 20 points, at home against an inferior conference winner, something like that. It's going to be wild. The 8-9 games, the 7-10 game, those are going to be good games. Okay. But the other games, man, we're going to see blowouts.
Yeah. Listen, we get blowouts in the NCAA tournament, right? All the time.
Right.
We get blowouts in conference championship games all the time. So if that's going to be the reason why people aren't going to like this, then you don't like conference championship games. Then take a look at Michigan and Iowa this year. That was a joke. That was an embarrassment, right?
Ooh,
so we do have blowouts all the time. That's just the nature of the beast. I do believe we're going to go up to 16, if not 20 teams within the next, I would say, 2 to 4 years. I really do believe that.
No.
I think more people are going to want in. Yeah, you know why? Because who runs college football, Dave? The bowls do, right? The college football bowls. And all these bowls that are now worthless, that's the majority. 37 bowls are worthless. There's only 3 that mean something. But now that 3 turns to about 12. And now that 37 turns to about 25 or so. And now the 25 isn't quite as strong. Well, our party's not as strong over here. We want to be part now of the 12 or 13 that have meaning. And I think the bowls are going to dictate we want in. And the only way you get more bowls involved, add more playoff teams. I really do believe that's going to be the impetus. Not that we need more teams or anything along those lines. It's these bowls are all going to say, I want to be part of the big picture. Why is the Tangerine Bowl in, but the Weed Whacker Bowl is not? So let's add more teams.
Well, the first round games are going to be home games, so it's only going to add a couple bowl significance to 4 games, which is still something. Don't get me wrong. I don't know how the bowl system is going to survive the way it is. That's an interesting question, and you're asking the coaches and the teams and the players to play an extra or two meaningful games. I mean, the teams that get all the way to the end, they're going to play an NFL regular season. They're going to play 16 or 17 games, depending on how this plays out. So it's a lot of football. It's going to change the whole calendar. We're going to have college football usually ends the first week of January with the championship game. New Year's Day was always, the game. The New Year's Eve semifinals now have been a regular thing. We're into January. So we're going to have football all the way to, with the NFL all the way through the end of January. I don't know when they're going to play the championship game is going to be like the third week of January. So sports calendar's changing, Scott. It's everything's being elongated. They're extending these seasons. When in like a season like the NBA, they should be contracting the number of games, right? Like play more meaningful games. I haven't seen you since the All-Star game, but
less
my
is more.
goodness, I don't even know what that was.
Oh, that was funny. That was the whole. I wanted to ask you about that, Dave. I mean, Joe Madden and I were doing the in-game live beforehand, and I was telling her the offshore books, who are generally ahead of the U.S. books, right? The offshore books, I saw that line go as low as 250 or 352.5, right? And FanDuel still had it at 356. They had it at 358, 359 earlier in the day, and I'm telling Joe, you know what? This is going to go down. This is going to go lower. I'm looking at 252. The whole world, for whatever reason, was betting the under. Just because Adam Silver, supposedly asked the players to play a little defense, take it more seriously. I said these players aren't going to listen to him. They don't listen to him. And look what we got, the highest scoring game ever. Amazing.
Yeah, and more defense. There was no defense. They stayed away from the paint. They stayed away from each other. It became a three-point shooting contest. They were just chucking threes from the logo. I don't know what that was. I don't know specifically how to fix it. But I don't think bettors want to see that. I know books don't want to see it. I mean, at some point, they had 400 points in a game. How do you even make a number for that? I don't even know how to make a number for that. 211 for the winning team. So it helped. I mean, the books had a good night because everybody bet under and the game flew over and everybody bet the favorite. They bet the West. They bet the West. They bet the West. And the East won. So it was a big night for the books as far as handle goes, going the right way. But for a watch, I don't want to see that anymore. And I love the NBA All-Star game.
Yeah. I don't know. You got to be a complete moron to bet an under in an NBA All-Star game without the Kobe rules. I mean, once I heard the Kobe rules weren't in effect, I'm like, who is betting the under? All right, we got number one UConn in action coming up later on tonight. Black Cloud all coming up next year on the Grid.
Jokic is the best player in the NBA until proven otherwise. Like, you have that guy on your team, you win 50 games, it's really that simple.
There is voter fatigue, and I think that is the only thing you have to be careful about when you deal with the NBA is there voter fatigue in regards to who should win the MVP? When you look at the odds, and obviously you get, no Halliburton.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
This is going to fall 6, 7, or 8, right? This is going to fall 6, 7, or 8. 6 you lose, 7 you push, 8 you win. So it's going to come down to the end.
And he missed the 3, and they are not going to foul. They're not going to foul. He just drove and scored, though. Oh, they gave up a dunk with 14.1 to go.
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Not long after Barstool decided to stop their operations as far as taking bets, they've partnered up here with DraftKings to do a lot of their promotions.
It was announced that there would be this non-compete clause for Barstool, meaning that, they couldn't partner with any other sports book. Obviously, DraftKings and other sports books are seen as kind of competitors of Penn.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back. It is InGame Live, prime time, right here on the grid. Scott Wetzel, Dave Sharapan. Just getting underway. Hour number one of our 2-hour extravaganza. Good slate of hockey games, terrific slate of college basketball games, including number one UConn taking on Creighton as they put their top ranking on the line in Nebraska. That's the subject of our Black Cloud tonight. Yes. Hard not to like the UConn Huskies tonight, right? I know it was 2.5 earlier today, Dave. It might be up to 3.5 in some circles, maybe even higher. But I saw it at 2.5 today, and I said, you know what? Not that I have anything against UConn, but let's do it. You know, the Four-Letter Network last night, they had Bobby Hurley Jr. on, Danny, talking about how great his team was. They're finally getting a whole lot of publicity, this and that. And you know what? Okay, I'm going to buy. I'm buying in. UConn, you want my money? You got it. Huskies number one. Huskies 41-20-1 against the spread. Their last 62 games as a favorite, including 5-1 on the road as they are tonight. Huskies 11-4 against the spread. Last 15 road games overall. Huskies 16-6-2 against the spread on Tuesdays, if that does anything for you, as today is. Creighton, meanwhile, and I like that stuff. I'll bet that stuff. Creighton, 1-7 their last against the spread. 1-7 against the spread their last 8 home games. So any thought about Creighton kind of rallying here for the Gipper? I don't think so. 0-5 are the Blue Jays as well. Last 5 times as an underdog as they are tonight. I mean, everything points to UConn. Give me the Huskies. Double down on my bet. 2 units. UConn laying 2.5, even 3.5 if your number's 3.5. What do you think?
Now, across the country, this is a trend. A lot of people are in this space have been on Creighton off and on all day. I could make a case for both sides here. I like UConn. I'm with you with the Black Cloud. I've seen the powers, though, take down painfully obvious ones. This makes me a little bit nervous. I was hoping you were coming with Creighton on a Black Cloud, but that's okay. We'll watch it. I think we're going to learn. Listen, UConn's the odds-on favorite at pretty much every book. Onshore, offshore, on the moon, everywhere you look, it's UConn Huskies. Number one team, lowest odds to win it all. We're going to learn a lot more about Creighton tonight, okay? They need to win this game. They need, I think, just for their mental state going into March for the Big East tournament, that's in your backyard. if this game goes Creighton's way, I think it goes over that total 144.5. But I like UConn.
Right.
Until somebody goes and beats them, they're 14-1 against the Big East. The last 15 against Big East teams. I think they win the game.
It's amazing. I think we've seen a lot of good teams, Dave, over the years not be able to repeat, right? And a lot of it recently is just because guys graduate, go to, or not graduate, but at least go to the NBA. So I don't know. Is this team going to buck the trends? I mean, do they really have a super? There's no Michael Jordan on this team. They're good players. Don't get me wrong. And that big guy in the middle, freshman, may turn out to be another, really terrific center. But I mean, I don't know. 4-1. You're right. I saw plus 4-1, plus 450 sometime. I mean, there's a gazillion teams this year that can win a championship, we're all saying, and yet somehow or another, there seems to be an overwhelming favor with UConn developing here. So, this is kind of a moment of truth game for them as well. I agree with you with Creighton. They really, they need this game a lot more than UConn does, clearly. But I don't know. Are you ready to buy in? Can UConn do it again? Last year, they got red hot at the right time. This year, It's been more, basically from start to finish. I will admit that. But, I mean, where's Michael Jordan? I don't see James Worthy. I don't. Where's Christian Laettner on this team?
But I think that's
nice
what
team.
I like. I think that's what I like best about them, right? There's not one guy to stop that stops UConn. I think they're well coached. I think they play good enough, if not really good defense, and they can play at any style. Now, they play great at home, and they run a little bit more. The totals are a little bit higher there, but I'm so impressed with what they've been able to do with the target on their back. I mean, this is the longest I think somebody's been number one, all season? Because it keeps changing. Teams, you saw what happened to Purdue over the weekend. I mean, they're a big favorite. They go to Ohio State and lose outright. I don't know. Who's the other good team? Houston's going through a gauntlet. It was a good win last night at home against Iowa State. But when you look at the numbers of teams to win it all, UConn is that number for that reason. And then the next ones are like 9-1. There's only a couple that are single digits anymore. There it is right there. It's Purdue, Houston, and them. And then it's like, do you want Arizona? Do you want Tennessee? North Carolina? Maybe. After that, I mean, to get into the SEC with Bama and Auburn, I don't know. They look better than every team. They will be favored on a neutral, obviously, against every team on that list.
Right. They won't be an underdog, I don't think, the rest of the way. And you think about it, the Big East tournament, Madison Square Garden in New York, so that's home, away from home for them. First round, I think, is in Brooklyn. That's home away from home. Next round, the NCAA tournament, rounds, 3 and 4 in Boston, their backyard. I mean, they got it. Listen, I think the NCAA tournament, when it comes to home court advantage, is overrated a little bit, but you don't have to travel. You do have a fan base there. You still are on the road. You're still in hotels, so it's not a home game per se. But that's a nice advantage, basically being a bus ride, literally, from all these sites that they're going to be going to leading up to the Final Four. So it does. It's a nice cushiony job, but 450 and the next, you said it, you saw the graphics here, 8-1. They're almost a 2-1 favorite, Dave, over the next teams. I mean, again, are they to you that overwhelming of a favorite? I don't see them that overwhelming as a favorite, but maybe.
I think it's a lack of a second choice. I think you're constantly looking to take money on this market, right? And in recent times, the flavor of the week changes. So you're constantly fluctuating those numbers. They've stayed right here and just, you can't drop it much lower. How can you expect to get any bets on this team at plus 300, 3-1? I mean, you can't. So you have to leave it there, but it can't go much lower. I just don't know who those other teams are behind. I just looked at their schedule. They're at Marquette the second and last game of the regular season. That might be, as of right now, pick them. It could, that's the only game they're not going to be favored the rest of the season. They're going to be favored in every Big East game, and they're going to be favored, I would think, in every tournament game. So tonight's a big tell for both teams, but more so for Creighton. They missed threes that they could get run out of the gym. They got destroyed the first time these two teams played, which is what leads you to believe why the Black Cloud found it. How is this only 2.5 is the question, right? That's the question. Yeah.
Yeah. I think they scored 48 points that. I think it was 62-48, something like that first game. But then they got, embarrassed. So, yeah, it's hard not to like UConn, right? But we've seen teams get knocked off. So they tip off in about 40 minutes or so. Tell you another team that's kind of I think they are, no matter what, on the outside still looking in. But Villanova lead Butler tonight 67-55, 3.5 minutes left. That was another one of those that I thought, okay, Villanova maybe at home definitely needed to win. And so far they're doing a pretty good job. Well, 66-59 now. Not over yet. But we got a bunch of good games going on. We'll take a break. We got Iowa, Michigan State. We got West Virginia, UCF. We got a big game in the MAC, believe it or not, with Toledo and Akron scoring off. So a halfway decent college basketball slate. We'll get to it all. Yeah, but that's in-game live. PrimeTime continues.
Jokic is the best player in the NBA until proven otherwise. You have that guy on your team, you win 50 games, it's really that simple.
There is voter fatigue, and I think that is the only thing you have to be careful about when you deal with the NBA is there voter fatigue in regards to who should win the MVP? When you look at the odds, and obviously you get, no Halliburton.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
This is going to fall 6, 7, or 8, right? This is going to fall 6, 7, or 8. 6 you lose, 7 you push, 8 you win. So it's going to come down to the end.
And he missed the 3, and they are not going to foul. They're not going to foul. He just drove and scored, though. Oh, they gave up a dunk with 14.1 to go.
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Not long after Barstool decided to stop their operations as far as taking bets, they've partnered up here with DraftKings to do a lot of their promotions.
It was announced that there would be this non-compete clause for Barstool, meaning that, they couldn't partner with any other sports book. Obviously, DraftKings and other sports books are seen as kind of competitors of Penn.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back. In-game live, prime time, right here on the grid. Scott Wetzel, Dave Sharapan, just checking out the college basketball scene. George Kurtz will join us in about 15, 20 minutes or so. We'll run down some of the hockey games. Dave, let me throw a couple more college basketball games, though, first up before we go to the ice. All right, so we got UConn, bottom of the hour here against Creighton, 2.5-point favorite. I did see it earlier today up to 3.5, so it dropped back down to 2.5. Pretty good one, and I know it's a common betting system. Ranked San Diego State at unranked Utah State, both out of the Mountain West, both really good teams. One team happens to be ranked at the Aztecs, and they're the underdogs. So Utah State, the unranked home team, ranked over favored over the ranked road team is a common betting system. It's been fairly effective this year. Utah State laying 2.5, over under of 145.5. Any thoughts on this one?
Leaning Utah State, but the game, I mean, this is a measuring stick game for Utah State. San Diego State,
right?
Preseason, one of the top teams in the Mountain West. Utah State, not coming out of nowhere. I mean, they're a quality team in the conference, but they're playing probably above expectation. So you see this number and you see the rankings, and this would be one of those ones you'd sit in the book all day as people would come up to the counter and go, wow, how can this be? Give me San Diego State on the money line. They don't even take the points. The trend has been discovered, like the atom, the protons and neutrons and everything else. Everyone knows how to split an atom now. Everybody knows to take an unranked home team against a ranked visiting team. So another one that's very popular. I think we'll see again in-game opportunity abound in this game. There'll be I think you'll be able to take both teams plus 5 or 6 at some point in this basketball game.
Yeah.
Which, I don't think you need to take a pregame stand. It's 2.5, but there'll be a lot of opportunity. That game's I don't think that's a blowout either way. I think that's one of those 12, 13 lead changes type game.
Right. It's almost like the boys in Vegas are baiting you now. They realized that was very successful. And I think it was more a product, Dave, of just ranked teams having trouble on the road this year, whether they're favorites or underdogs, to tell you the truth. Now I get the sense like, okay, everyone's betting the system. All right, let's make Utah State a favorite and see how well things turn out rather than make them a 1.5 or so underdog like we normally would. I just wonder if they know what the right side is. I will say this about unders, too. San Diego State monster under team, 26-10 their last 36 games as an underdog to the under. I do like that. And I will say this, San Diego State, with all the publicity and everything else, the cachet, 3-12-2 against the spread their last 17 games against a team that has a winning record at home, which obviously Utah State does. So kind of shows that they don't win these close battles, against good home teams. I'll go Utah State.
Yeah, I it's Utah State or nothing pregame for me. But as far as like the odds makers have all the same information, sometimes a little bit more, not so much anymore. I feel like 10 years ago, the odds makers had way more information, but that due to, shows like this and other content creators and just more availability to a lot of the same stuff. I mean, Ken Palm is, the measuring stick for a lot of people that become college basketball experts after the Super Bowl, especially. People have been watching football up until the Super Bowl. Now they're like, I'm just going to look and see what Ken Palm has it. Oh, Ken Palm has it 2, and it's 2.5 or 3. I should bet the dog, or however they use it. Again, just cautiously, I recommend people do their own numbers, do their own type of things, come up with systems like Wetzel. Wetzel has a system. Scott, you got systems for systems. Sometimes I can't keep track of all of them. I should have told you.
Hit a couple this weekend. Coach's fire system hit with Ohio State, right, against Purdue.
And the hockey game with the Penguins in the retirement ceremony. I dropped the ball on that. Yeah, I was watching it and going, I thought of you. I told the kids, I said, you know what? This is taking a really long time before the game. This is where you bet against the home team. And, my daughter's 10, but she said, the Pittsburgh teams always lose, Daddy. You should bet against them. And she was right, so I had to hear about that. So it's a long night on Sunday. But you're right. And ranked teams against unranked teams, with the unranked team being favored, that the odds makers may have heard that one too. And it's really hard to make a team favored on the road, Scott, in college basketball right now. That's
this year,
it's really hard. That's why UConn being a favorite on the road at what really is a hard place to play in Creighton, I think that says a lot about how much odds makers think a team like UConn really is that good.
Yeah. That I'm thinking with the top of my head, right? That's probably the longest Big East trip, right? UConn to Nebraska. Is there a longer one than that? I think the Big East teams, so. Villanova, Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey. I think that's the longest one, if that means anything.
I think so.
That's going to be interesting football-wise, right? Some of these trips football-wise, USC flying to New Jersey to play Rutgers, in the Big Ten. I mean, that's going to be so goofy. Or Washington, rather, Oregon. That's going to be weird. They're going to be flying in like Wednesday. These trips are so long. They had to stop layovers in St. Louis on a trip to New Jersey to play Rutgers.
Right.
Goofy. How about two ranked teams? Baylor and BYU, not
Good
bad.
game.
They haven't added too much football-wise, but basketball-wise, got BYU at home, laying 3.5, 145.5. Cougar, nice little over game for BYU, 7-2 over last 9. Bears, 23-11 over last 34 as an underdog. If you want to buy into trends, you got BYU 22-8. Last 30 home games. Those are the kind of trends, Dave, I like. When you start throwing variables into your sentence, then it kind of, as every variable kicks in, the trend gets weaker and weaker to me. So when I do my stuff here, I really look for like solid, easy, nice, and 22-8 against the spread at home for BYU. Last 30 home games is a pretty good trend. Good team. Getting basically a pick 'em 3.5, right?
Yep.
I like BYU in this one.
See, I like Baylor. I mean,
yeah, okay.
I got the game closer to a pick 'em. So, again, cautiously optimistic for the road team. But this is one that I think the book's sitting back and just letting people bet the BYU, let the people bet the BYU. It steamed up. It was overnight. It was like 1.5. It's now 4. And I think, we got 30 minutes to tip.
Yep.
I'm leaning Baylor right now. But a game that this is going to be way more entertaining. Look at the total. 153, 153.5. Big 12, I think we can both agree, best conference in basketball. It is really, I think, head and shoulders above everybody else.
I tell you, you know how good they are, Dave? I watched a lot of that Houston game last night. Wasn't much going on at that point. That was the later game, and I had the under. And even though they lost by, 9 or 10 points, I don't even know if they covered the spread, to tell you the truth, when everything was said and done. But I was more impressed with Iowa State last night than I think I was with Houston, and Houston won by double digits. I said, this Iowa State, that's a tough place to play. They couldn't hit the broadside of a barn for the first, 10, 12 minutes of that game. And they were right there in the end. A couple of shots fall the right way, and they win that game. They hit a bunch of threes. They shot over 50% or over 45% from 3. And you got Houston's A game last night, and that just goes to show how good that conference is when you can have a team lose by double digits on the road and still, like came away saying, that's going to be a tough team to beat. They're a tough club.
No question. I think obviously they're going to get the most teams in the NCAA tournament. And the Big 12 postseason tournament is going to be just electric to watch, but the winner may be worse off for the wear for later. That's one thing we're going to have to look at as we get closer, the way it breaks down. The team that has to play 3 or 4 games in that short amount of time, all high leverage games. There's no bunnies. That's going to be hard. That's going to be very difficult. Real quick before we get to the break and Kurtz and stuff, Pitt and Wake Forest. Did you look at that game at all? That one's coming up too at 6 o'clock Pacific, 9 o'clock Eastern. I can't believe this number. I looked at this and thought,
that's where I was
what's
going
going
to go.
on here? Hmm?
Yeah, that Pittsburgh team's got a couple of nice wins.
Yes.
To be that much of a road, albeit road, but still, to be 5.5, 6.5 point road underdog, who's Wake Forest to be laying that kind of wood against anybody? I will gladly take Pittsburgh plus those points, right?
Yeah, Pitts won 5 games in a row. Gigantic win against Louisville.
Duke? Beat Duke?
Beat Duke on the road. I'm telling you,
Right?
I think they're live to win the game. Could be a square dog because there's sometimes I get in these blind spots where I don't see something. What I'm seeing in the ACC has been really, how bad is Virginia, Syracuse? Teams that were used to be, they're terrible. So, I don't know. Maybe I may be giving Pitt a little too much credit, but I'm with you. I like them plus the points.
Tell you, the other one I like is I hate laying this kind of wood, but I'll take Wisconsin laying 7.5. They tip off top of the hour as well against Maryland. Turtles 5-12 against the spread their last 17 road games.
Ooh,
they're awful. Yeah. The
Yes.
days of Gary Williams and the late great Lefty Drizel, long gone. All right, hockey talk coming up next.
Nikola Jokic is the best player in the NBA until proven otherwise. Like, you have that guy on your team, you win 50 games, it's really that simple.
There is voter fatigue, and I think that is the only thing you have to be careful about when you deal with the NBA is there voter fatigue in regards to who should win the MVP? When you look at the odds, and obviously you get, no Halliburton.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
This is going to fall 6, 7, or 8, right? This is going to fall 6, 7, or 8. 6 you lose, 7 you push, 8 you win. So it's going to come down to the end.
And he missed the 3, and they are not going to foul. They're not going to foul. He just drove and scored, though. Oh, they gave up a dunk with 14.1 to go.
InGame Live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York team has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Not long after Barstool decided to stop their operations as far as taking bets, they've partnered up here with DraftKings to do a lot of their promotions.
It was announced that there would be this non-compete clause for Barstool, meaning that, they couldn't partner with any other sports book. Obviously, DraftKings and other sports books are seen as kind of competitors of Penn.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back. In-game live, prime time here on the grid. Hour number one, Scott Wetzel, Dave Sharapan, talking some college basketball. We'll put that aside here for a second. Talk some pucks, little NHL, full slate of games. Where we got 7-8 games tonight, some halfway decent ones, including probably the marquee one with Vancouver playing at Colorado starting here shortly. So let's bring in our guy, George Kurtz, to talk some pucks. What's going on, George? How are you tonight, bud?
Doing well. Pittsburgh just scored against the Islanders. The Islanders challenged it and lost. Now Pittsburgh's on a power play trying to tie this game up. And as we know, the Islanders are having such an extremely difficult time protecting leads.
Yeah, I wasn't going to mention the Penguin game because they're losing. But what'd you think of the outdoor games, George? I got to tell you, as a hockey fan, I really enjoyed it. My daughter was actually there working it, so I got inside pictures from before. I got merch coming on the way. The Islanders held true to form and blew a lead. That's not bringing up bad memories or anything. But did you enjoy the games as a hockey guy? I know I did.
I thought the presentation was pretty awesome. At MetLife, it looked good, right? It looked good. So, yeah, I thought it was enjoyable. I'm the first person to tell you that I think the novelty is worn off. We had a lot of these, 4 of them this year. So I don't think it's maybe not appointment viewing anymore, but I enjoy watching them, sure. I was surprised, Dave, that generally in outdoor games, the under has been the play. Yet Jersey, Flyers, Islanders, Rangers destroyed the under, right? They went way over, 9 goals on Saturday, 11 goals on Sunday. So that was a bit of a surprise from a betting angle here. But as far as enjoyment watching them, yeah, I thought it was great.
Yeah,
I don't think that's going to change.
Right.
Yeah. Well, it was freezing too. A lot of times you got these games that are in the middle of the afternoon and it's sunny and the ice is melting and everything else. Whereas the consensus was it was frigid out, especially Saturday night. Warmed a little bit Sunday afternoon, but I don't. That's the one thing the NHL has, though, George. I don't think they're going to get rid of it. It might not be appointment viewing anymore to watch the game, but if you're in these cities, right, they got 70,000 Saturday night and they got 80,000 close to it Sunday afternoon for the Ranger Islander game. So everywhere they go. They got Detroit and Columbus next year. I guess they're going to play at Ohio State Stadium. They'll put another 80-plus thousand. I don't know what they seat there, but they'll put 80,000 in there. Fans do want to see it, for the first time. Like, you couldn't have 2 games in one city because people realize, you know what? You can't watch. You're freezing to death. We're a mile away from the ice. You can't see anything, but it's a bucket list thing to do, but you can't do it twice.
I don't know. I mean, I don't think you can do it twice, maybe at the same 2 teams. But, Detroit, Columbus, and I'm trying to think who else. Minnesota, I guess, could be somewhat in the area there. Even at Pittsburgh would be close, but I guess Pittsburgh could do Philadelphia or something like that. But I think you could if you wanted to, but I think it's pushing it further. One thing the NHL got lucky with is that it was so cold, Scotty, right? Because they're going back-to-back nights. If it ended up being, every now and then here in the Northeast, we do get a nice 60-degree weekend, right? If they would have gotten that, they'd have been screwed. But it was cold. Although I went to the one in Yankee Stadium, which is, I don't know, 5, 6, whatever long it was.
Oh.
That was colder. That was much colder. Let me tell you. I did not enjoy that. I want to get out of there with my fingers. Maybe I wasn't dressed warm enough, whatever it was. But and I don't drink alcohol. Maybe that would have helped too if I could have drowned my frozenness away. So it might have been cold Sunday afternoon, but it wasn't as cold as that Sunday afternoon when the Islanders and the Rangers played. Like I said, 7, 8 years ago at Yankee Stadium. That was brutal.
Yeah, baseball stadiums hosting it is one thing. Big football stadiums is another. It just kind of looks different. That one in Ohio State, they're going to sell out. It's 110,000. It's going to be the biggest crowd
110, wow.
ever. Yeah, that's a big one. So again, I don't know. You can't see the ice that great. You definitely can't see the puck from that far away, but you're in the event, you watch it on the screen, it all works out. George, tonight there's a couple really good games, between some teams that are playing for a lot. Canucks and Avalanche, total 6.5. The Canucks lost by a field goal yesterday to Minnesota, 10-7. How do you come back from that and bet, like Wetzel says, American money on the Canucks?
Listen, that's an aberration game, right? An outlier, if you will. They went with the backup goaltender. It was Casey DeSmith. I'm not saying it's his fault, by the way. All right, but that was crazy. There were 3 hat tricks in that game. That's going back to 80s hockey, right? 70s and 80s hockey. We don't see that anymore. I mean, that was just nuts. Fun to watch, but you got to think the coaching staff was like, they'll flip out if they give up another anywhere near 10 goals, well, 8 goals. They were 2 empty netters yesterday. So they'll flip out if they play a poor defensive game again. I think they'll play better. I am not going to say they're going to beat Colorado. They're playing back-to-back days. That's tough as it is. You're playing against Colorado, maybe the best team in the NHL, certainly one of them here. Colorado has struggled as well of late, right? Their last 7 games, I think they're 2-5, so they're having some issues also here. So I think what I'm trying to say is I think we'll get a much more normal NHL contest tonight. That being said, I bet the over.
Yeah. They also had 2 empty netters and they had 2 5-on-3 goals. So if you eliminate that, you really only had 6, which is still a lot, but it's not 10. It's like, you can't count those 4 goals.
You take away this, the goalie missed this save. Now we're down to 5.
Yeah, exactly. The first goal doesn't count because we're not ready to play. Yeah, so now we're down to 5. They had a goal in the final seconds of the first period, second period, so we can't count that.
So we're down to 4.
There's only really 4 goals. Yeah, we're only 4 goals, And the one guy, one goal, he got screened, so you can't blame on that. So really, only got 3 goals out of 10.
We're down to 3. Yeah. He's fine, Casey. You had a great game, Casey. No, don't worry about the 8 goals. Don't worry about your GAA now being like 17. It's all right. No problems. No worries.
All right, Nathan McKinnon he's on the goose here tonight, George. We're down to 15 games. Remember the bet we had before the All-Star or during the All-Star break? Willie scored at least 1 point in every single home game, so he's only had the 1 home game so far. So far, so good. I saw him take a puck to the face last week, and I'm like, oh my God, we're going to lose this bet because he's got no teeth. But he's a hockey player. He went right back out there. So we going to get at least a point out of him tonight?
It was a deflected shot, so yeah, he's good. Yes, I'm going on the over tonight, so sure. He's got to get a point tonight. I do lean towards Colorado winning this game as well. If I'm on the over and Colorado wins, that probably puts Colorado at least 4 goals tonight. I don't see this being 3-2. I have more of the 4-3 variety, maybe 5-3 than empty netter here. So, I'm on McKinnon getting a point here. Listen, I hope he does. It's a weird little thing. It's not a major thing, by the way. As far as, oh my God, no, has anyone ever done this in NHL history? Well, it's really much more of a who cares, but it's a fun little thing. And I think he keeps it going tonight. I do. And you and I have discussed it before, Scotty. If he has this going until the last week of the season, I don't care if Colorado has everything wrapped up. I think they'll give him a shot at it.
Oh, he better play. He can't be sitting. They have to see this thing all the way through. That's a hell of a accomplishment. Out in Vegas tonight, another good hockey game. The Predators are playing the Knights. I think we got the right goalie matchup. Soros and Hill is what I got listed. Short favorite for the Knights. They're coming off a shutout at San Jose, where Nashville's already in the city and didn't play last night. But who knows where they were on the strip. And these teams come in early. Knights under. What do you thinking, George?
I can tell you where Nashville wasn't last night. All right. Nashville was punished. Right. They were punished.
Yeah.
Originally, they were supposed to go to the Severe and say U2, but they had played so poorly lately that I guess the coaching staff, Burnett and management, took it away. You will not go see Bono. All right. No Sunday, Bloody Sunday for you. They were punished, which I've heard of this before. Usually it comes down to maybe a golf trip when you're in Florida. You get that taken away and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But, boy, U2 in the Severe, I'd be a little upset. They're sending a message. Here. You got to play better here. I find this funny, though, because I always equate these messages. When does a manager in baseball send a message? When his ace starter is going the next day, right? And you're facing a bad team. Boone will have a team meeting when Cole's going up against the Royals. A good chance you're going to win. It's going to make you look like a genius here. Not so sure, though, about this message when you're playing the defending Stanley Cup champions. Once again, I think they'll play better, and I do think this is a low-scoring game to your answer, Dave. So I think I'm going to go the under here as well. I still think it's a Vegas win, 3-2. I don't think you'll see a lot of goals here. Hill's playing. Thompson had the shutout yesterday against San Jose. I'm still going back to Vegas here, but Nashville. Like I said, that's a pretty good wake-up call from the coaching staff there, or / management, whichever party really decided to go here, to wake up and play better.
Not to mention they wouldn't go from Nashville to Vegas. I mean, you couldn't wait for you two to be back on the East Coast somewhere. So, Columbus, LA Kings, right? I mean, goofy, but all right. Kings, George, 4-1 since they fired their head coach, Todd McClellan. Came out with a win, then got whacked 7-0 against, who was it, Buffalo? I think they lost 7-0.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? So then they rattled off 3 straight. They take on a Columbus team. Good news, bad news, George. Good news is they won, so they're playing good hockey. Bad news is they're 0-10 the last time they won a hockey game the next game. They haven't won back-to-back games since late November, Thanksgiving weekend, which is really just amazing. So automatic play, I guess, on the Kings, but you can't lay the 2 in change. So how are we going to attack this one?
I have the Kings and the Florida Panthers in a parlay, so that's how I'm attacking it first off here. Once again, I just thought it was the two games I like most on as far as a favorite here. Now, you're right. I don't trust the Kings. I mean, goal and a half, no, that's not happening. All right, I don't trust them enough either. So I wasn't playing it any other way other than a parlay here. I think Florida, before I was on the segment, they were up 2-0, so far so good there. Cam Talbot's playing goal tonight. So what we're seeing here, the Kings know they don't have a goalie. They don't have a pure number 1 star. They're going for the hot guy here, hoping to find something. But they're going to have to make a trade. They're going to have to make a trade to find a goalie, you know. Listen, we've heard Yuri Saros could be available, right? But you have to give up a ton for him. And who are they playing tonight? Columbus. What did Columbus say about 3 weeks ago? That they will find a new situation, a new scenario, you know, for Elvis Merzlikins. So this could be a sort of audition for Merzlikins across the ice from Cam Talbot.
I heard the Sphere show is a little overrated anyway, so don't worry about that.
I'd go.
Nashville guys. Yeah, no, a lot of people. I mean, Peralt went. The Sphere's a tremendous place to see a show, but you got to be a U2 person. Half the team probably don't even know who U2 is. So that's neither here nor there. George, I don't know. Looking forward, all right, I'm looking at futures, NHL futures. Can't figure out what to do in the West. I mean, Colorado there, but is it Edmonton, Vancouver, Winnipeg in the second or third spot? Because we're looking at these futures. I'm trying to look at exacta prices. I'm looking at to win the conference. I can't decide. I watched the game yesterday with Winnipeg. That didn't look like the second best team in the West to me, but tonight they're holding it down pretty good.
I'm still going Winnipeg here. I think Scotty and I talked about this on Game Live over the weekend. Give me Winnipeg. Connor Hellebuyck has generally been fantastic. Bad game yesterday. All right, everybody's going to lay an egg. Bad game. Give me Peg. I don't trust Skinner for Edmonton in the playoffs. We'll see how that runs here. Vancouver, I think maybe they need to fail first in the playoffs before they succeed. So give me Peg as the second best team, but really any of those teams could pull it out.
George, great job as always, my friend. Enjoy your Tuesday night. Islanders still leading 3-2 as they enter the third, so good job so far.
Jokic is the best player in the NBA until proven otherwise. Like, you have that guy on your team, you win 50 games, it's really that simple.
There is voter fatigue, and I think that is the only thing you have to be careful about when you deal with the NBA is there voter fatigue in regards to who should win the MVP? When you look at the odds, and obviously you get, no Halliburton.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
This is going to fall 6, 7, or 8, right? This is going to fall 6, 7, or 8. 6 you lose, 7 you push, 8 you win. So it's going to come down to the end.
And he missed the 3, and they are not going to foul. They're not going to foul. He just drove and scored, though. Oh, they gave up a dunk with 14.1 to go.
InGame Live, PrimeTime, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Not long after Barstool decided to stop their operations as far as taking bets, they've partnered up here with DraftKings to do a lot of their promotions.
It was announced that there would be this non-compete clause for Barstool, meaning that, you know, they couldn't partner with any other sports book. Obviously, DraftKings and other sports books are seen as kind of competitors of Penn.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
All right, it's InGame Live Prime Time. Wrapping up hour number one, Fast hour number two coming up here in a second. But we still need to do some business here in hour number one, and that is our same game parlay time. Yeah, a little SGP. We were just talking about it. NHL will go with a bunch of hockey games starting at the top of the hour or later. So the marquee matchup, Vancouver at the Colorado Avalanche. So let's start there. You know, there's different parlays I put together. Some are just like, let's get this number as high as you possibly can. And then there are others you just say, all right, I like the home team, but I don't want to lay the wood. So what can I do to, drop those odds down and actually get odds in my favor? That's kind of what we're doing here. We're going to use Colorado in regulation, plus 105. Don't need to lay the minus 154. I don't think it's going to overtime. But I think they're going to win. I think they're winning in regulation. So let's actually get odds with Colorado, plus 105 to win in regulation. Then we're going to go no goal first 5 minutes, minus 215. It's a no-brainer pick for me. I do think we're going to get some goals in this game, but it's just one of those favorite picks I've been making for the last 2 weeks, which, oh, by the way, have not been doing well, I must say. Then we're going to use Nathan McKinnon. You see there getting a goal. I generally don't play goal scores, but he's been on fire. We talked about it with George, right? He's got at least 1 point in every single home game, as this one is. And then we're going to grab him 3 shots on goal, minus 660. He averages close to 5, so he's getting 3. There's no way he's not getting 3. So outside of the goal one, I'm pretty confident in all these, but let's keep our fingers crossed. Add it all up, plus 414, Dave. What do you think?
I'm worried about the goal, obviously, the no goal in the first 5 minutes. Do you ever get worried putting all your eggs on one guy? I mean, forget about all your eggs in one basket. They're all on McKinnon. Colorado could win this game 5-1. He has 2 assists, no goal. You're out.
Yeah, he could. I'll explain on the other side of this break why I don't mind putting all my eggs in one basket. That's next.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
It's in-game live prime time, hour number 2 of our 2-hour extravaganza on this terrific Tuesday. A lot of teas as yours truly, Scott Wetzel and Dave Sharapan, take you to 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern time. Another tea with the 10. Talking a little hockey with our little same-game parlay, Dave, to close out the last hour there. And you had asked me about, is it too dangerous to put all the eggs in one basket with Nathan McKinnon, with Colorado being in our same-game parlay? Here's my thinking on this. My thinking is I only have to be right once, even though I got 4 bets, basically. It's like why I generally, and then there's always rules to be broken, right? But why, if I'm going to do a parlay or old school or reverse, I'm going to make it all within one game. I'm going to pick, we'll just say the favorite and the under, or the favorite and the over, because I think Colorado's going to win this one 7-2. So I'm not going to put Colorado in a parlay and then say, well, I think Winnipeg's going to beat the Islanders tonight, because then I got to be right twice. If I put Colorado in the over in a parlay, my thinking only has to be right once. It's Colorado's going to score a lot and they're going to win. So same thing with McKinnon here. I think he's going to have a big game. He's at home. He's had terrific home games this year. So, yeah, he could have a great game and not score, but it's all kind of correlated. If they're going to whack you for correlating picks, then you might as well correlate the picks. So it's either McKinnon's going to have a good game or I'm going to lose the bet. That's how I view it. Make sense? Sort of.
Pretty confident that Colorado's going to win the game, huh? That's the other one.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's an easy shoe-in. Colorado's been one of the best teams in the West, but Vancouver, the concern is after a dud yesterday that they get a bounce-back performance tonight, right? Do you have a system for that? Give up 10 goals, bet on the next game, or no?
I don't, but I will tell you, they have yet to lose 3 in a row all year, and they're coming off back-to-back losses. But Colorado, best home record in the NHL, 21-5.
Strong.
So, give me Colorado.
Strong.
This is where Vancouver, Dave, is. There's a reason why, right? There's a reason why Colorado is favored in the books to win it all, not Vancouver, even though Vancouver has the better record.
I was going to say that home record being so dominant, and they're going to have home ice throughout as long as this continues, at least until the Western Conference Final, maybe. Who's beating Colorado in a 7-game series in the West? That's right now. That's the question that every odds maker and every book's asking themselves. I've been asking everybody for a week. Who's the second best team in the West? Who's the team that's going to get to the Western Conference Finals from that other side? I don't know. I still don't know. But I think I don't think it's as dominant as the Celtics getting to the Eastern Conference Finals, but I think it would really be hard-pressed to not see Colorado Avalanche in the Western Conference Finals in the NHL.
Yeah. Their goaltending, though, does leave a lot to be desired.
That's the catch.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. That's the catch.
Yeah. Can we go call up Patrick Waugh and tell him, hey, come on back? Our bad.
Did you see Patrick at the outdoor game in the Letterman jacket with the Islanders? He looks like he could still play. I don't know. Some of these guys, they age, and you're like, I can't even believe this guy actually played. Patrick looked like if we get him some pads and let him stretch a little bit, he could probably go out and win us a game. It was pretty impressive. Yeah. It was odd seeing him in that orange and blue, but
I know.
Yeah.
By the way, those uniforms were ugly. Those Islander uniforms, my God, they were hideous. Who thought of that?
Loved the Ranger one. I absolutely loved it. I hated the Islander jersey. I thought I don't even know what that is, but some Islander fans, like lifelong Islander fans, liked it. I didn't like it at all. Not at all. Not one bit.
It was so basic and so blah. Like, what did they get? Like 4-year-olds to come up with? I mean, if someone gives you a carte blanche, hey, we did a new uniform, outdoor game. We want to sell a bunch of these uniforms. Come up with the best thing you can, right? That's what they came up with. That? I mean, it looked like it was from the 1950s.
Well, that's what the look was. That's what they wanted. They wanted
Well,
old
they
looking
accomplished that then.
from a distance.
They did accomplish
very
that. Then.
basic, clean, like the kids say, has to be clean. It was clean, very basic, but I didn't like it either. I didn't like it either. By the way, UConn's leading 17-15 halfway through the first half. 17.
Right.
This is a really good basketball game. We're going to keep an eye on that.
Yeah, definitely. How about some hockey? Should we go with your Penguins right now? Down 3-2 after 2 plus 265. I just put it at 220, and now it's up to 265.
The Islanders give up leads. That's a live bet. Yeah. If the Penguins score next, that game goes to pick 'em. So you're getting a plus 260 on the next goal. You got the whole third period to go. 18 minutes left. Yes, you can't. Well, you're not laying it with the Islanders. That's 100%. Kurtz knows. He said it. Saw the game against the Rangers. Thought the same thing. Like, boy, it's time. And then boom, the Rangers scored. Then boom, they scored again. So yeah, this is Islanders giving up the next goal. Yes, I think Penguins plus right there.
How about Dallas plus 320 just starting the third period, down a goal against the Rangers? That's not bad.
I haven't watched one second of that one.
Right?
Yeah. Little more hesitant with that
pick
one.
'em, but
right. That's that one. Yeah, a little more hesitant with that one. Because if the Rangers score the next goal, that bad boy's over. I think it's done. So I think the Islanders or Penguins could have multiple goals scored. If the Rangers get up 3-1, they may put the clamps on that game. I like under. What's the total right now in that game? Oh, it went to 5.5 while I was talking. I got a big 5.5.
Yeah,
juice.
but minus 290.
That just
Can't bet that.
Yeah. Too high.
Can't bet that. Yeah.
No. Price you out of the market.
Yep. I'm surprised the Devils are losing tonight. Every time you think they're going to go off on a run, you got a struggling Capitals team that's lost 8 of 10, and Devils are losing 3-1 early third.
It's really a sign of a young team, right? That's a sign of a young team to me that is close to taking that next step. And then in a game against an inferior opponent, they should be winning. They're losing. Third period. Now that might be one you want to grab, plus a goal and a half, or even plus what's that price?
750 straight, 2 goals and a half is minus 156. Can't bet that.
Okay.
Can't bet that.
2.5. That's going to win.
All right. We'll take a break. We'll update the college basketball scene next.
Nikola Jokic is the best player in the NBA until proven otherwise. Like, you have that guy on your team, you win 50 games, it's really that simple.
There is voter fatigue, and I think that is the only thing you have to be careful about when you deal with the NBA is there voter fatigue in regards to who should win the MVP? When you look at the odds, and obviously you get, no Halliburton.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
This is going to fall 6, 7, or 8, right? This is going to fall 6, 7, or 8. 6 you lose, 7 you push, 8 you win. So it's going to come down to the end.
And he missed the 3, and they are not going to foul. They're not going to foul. He just drove and scored, though. Oh, they gave up a dunk with 14.1 to go.
InGame Live, PrimeTime, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Not long after Barstool decided to stop their operations as far as taking bets. They've partnered up here with DraftKings to do a lot of their promotions.
It was announced that there would be this non-compete clause for Barstool, meaning that, they couldn't partner with any other sports book. Obviously, DraftKings and other sports books are seen as kind of competitors of Penn.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Welcome back in-game live, prime time here, hour number 2. Scott Wetzel, Dave Sharapan. Just looking at all the action, college basketball, a little NHL as well as we break it all down, hopefully making a couple of shekels along the way. We had mentioned in the first hour, Dave, some big news out of college football. Just to touch on that again real quickly. They announced that 12-team playoff for next year. We knew that, but we weren't really sure how they were going to divvy up the 12 teams. And they decided today you're going to have 5 automatic bids to the 5 top teams in the top 5 conferences, if that makes any sense. And I'll explain why here in a minute. And then 7 basically at-large bids. But there's going to be problems just because you might not have 5 conferences that are really good this year. Case in point, we'll take it towards the Vegas odds on teams to win the national championship. And let's just say Vegas is 100% correct, right? So team number 1 would be Georgia. Go ahead, guys, put that on the TV. They're 3-1, so they're going to be the champ out of the SEC. They're in. All right, team number 2 is going to be Ohio State, the best team theoretically out of the Big Ten. They're in. Team number 3 is going to be Florida State out of the ACC. Team number 4, which is a bit of a stretch, is Utah and Kansas State, tied for supposed to be the best teams out of the Big 12. The next highest team from the next highest conference is Liberty at 500 to 1. There are 48 other teams that have better odds than Liberty. And again, if you just say, okay, that's how they're really going to turn out. So there'll be 48 other teams minus the 11 teams that will get in. So 37 other teams that will be ranked higher than Liberty at the end of the year that will not get in, but Liberty will. And that's why the top 5 teams from the top 5 conferences should not be getting automatic bids. Top 4 might even be a stretch because I don't know how good the Big 12 really is going to be without Oklahoma and Texas, right? But that's when you say the top, the number 1 team from the top 5 conferences get bids, that's what you may end up with next year. A team like Liberty getting in. 37 other teams with theoretically better records, better seasons, not getting in. Doesn't make any sense to me.
Didn't they go to 12 teams to
avoid this?
Somebody from not getting in? And now we're going to allow someone that probably earned it to not get in. So I think you see it with the college basketball tournament. There's always, the last 4 out, the first 4 in, the quadrants, the bubbles. There's always somebody disappointed. There's going to be somebody disappointed in this college football playoff. I just think about it from the odds standpoint. The bet to make the playoff is going to be really interesting. It's going to be very volatile. There's going to be a lot of speculative buying. I think it's going to be fun. That would be one that would be fun to try to move because It's the first year doing it with 12 teams. Nobody knows how to move the number. Me and you may be sitting in a book and somebody comes in and bets Notre Dame for 5 dimes at 20-1. It's 100,000. What do we move it to? Well, you might say 15. I might say don't move it at all because I don't think they're going to get in. And even if they do, they're not going to win. Some other books that are a little more risk averse may move it to 10-1 and, start trying to root against, Rudy and all the Golden Domers going, oh, can't have this. So I think it's an interesting discussion. I think,
what do you think Georgia would be right now? Someone said put it on Georgia to make the playoffs. I mean, they would have to be like 1-4. They got to be minus money, right? They're not plus money.
Of course. No, I haven't seen their schedule yet, but I mean, just off the top of my head, I would make it minus 500.
Wow.
You got to lay 5-1. They're going to get in, right?
You would think.
There's no Saban at Bama. They're going to get in.
That's true.
Right? Yeah.
But you got Oklahoma and Texas.
To got them was last year, and they did. But, Texas is in the SEC. That's going to be interesting. But they got to be the odds on. And again, they're the odds on favorite to win it all, and they're only 3-1. So to make the playoff, got to be. I would argue it could be even higher, minus 600.
Yeah.
They're going to make the playoff.
That's going to be weird. I'm telling you, there's going to be the teams complaining, right? You see it already. Liberty's getting in. Really? 9-3 Liberty is getting in, but 10-2 Oklahoma and 10-2 Alabama aren't. That's what it's going to be. I don't know why college football just loves controversy. They just can't get away with it. There was no reason to add a fifth conference. Just none. I was telling this to Ben this afternoon. It's like they just don't trust the committee, Dave. They don't trust the committee to say, all right, you know what? Let's put Liberty in. They finished 12-0. Good story. You know what? Let's put them in. They don't trust that. They have to put a rule in there that says, yep, top 5, somebody has to get in. There's got to be one from that conference.
That's justified.
Our guys aren't smart enough to put them in.
Based on the past, that's justified. I don't blame them for doing that. I think that guy with 12 teams, a team like Liberty, has to get in. There has to be some path for a team like that to make it and have that Cinderella story and then get destroyed in the first round. They're the odds of them winning it all, having to win 4 games. I mean, the 4-game parlay, think about that. They're going to have to start on the road and then a neutral site game 3 times to win a championship. After running the table in their own conference or winning, 11 or 12, and then their conference title game. It's a lot to ask for a team with not a lot of depth. The top teams in the SEC and the Big Ten have 4 All-Americans at each position almost. Team like Liberty's got 2 on the whole team,
On the whole team, yeah.
I mean, the odds of them actually winning it, it'd be a fun story if they win 1 game. But those teams are they're going to be rewarded and get in the playoff, but they have no shot of winning. None.
Yeah. All right. Creighton does, certainly. They're leading UConn 34-25. Huskies now getting 4.5. Over under 150. It's real, right? We said, if UConn wins, we kind of thought it would be an under game. They're a strong under team. Creighton wins, then it would be an over because they're a strong over team. And so far, Creighton is winning out the battles here.
I'm watching
34-25.
13-2 scoring run. Getting open looks from 3. They just hit 2 they hit 3s back-to-back possessions. Really good ball movement and late kicks. Clear looks at the basket from 3. They're knocking them down. That place is rocking. Creighton's got one of those big arenas, 17,000 plus at the game. Everybody's wearing the Creighton Blue Jays colors. They are electric right now. This is probably a good spot to buy the UConn ticket. You may be able to wait and get another here's a possession error. They're going to decide who's getting the ball, but might be a good time. Would you say plus 4.5, plus 5.5?
5.5 now. Plus 198, 2-1 on the money line. Think they're going to come all the way back. Might as well do that. Think they're going to come back. I'm always a big money line guy. Or it could be one of those nights just, they're good, but they're not that good. How much would their number change? Plus 450 going into tonight. They lose tonight, and, they lose by 7, 8, 9 points. A decent margin, not getting blown out. Was it, the 550 maybe? Not 100 points?
Depends. I don't think you have to move it at all. They're probably going to win every game after this. So if you want to take more Connecticut money, you bump it up to 6-1. That's all. You don't bump it much. This is still really good basketball team. And it's not over yet. But there's 4 minutes left in the second half. You're ready to kick dirt on them. I mean, they're the Black Cloud play of the night.
I got a double play on them. I got a double play on them. They're done. Shot it.
Nikola Jokic is the best player in the NBA until proven otherwise. Like, you have that guy on your team, you win 50 games, it's really that simple.
There is voter fatigue, and I think that is the only thing you have to be careful about when you deal with the NBA is there voter fatigue in regards to who should win the MVP? When you look at the odds, and obviously you get, no Halliburton.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
This is going to fall 6, 7, or 8, right? This is going to fall 6, 7, or 8. 6 you lose, 7 you push, 8 you win. So it's going to come down to the end.
And he missed the 3, and they are not going to foul. They're not going to foul. He just drove and scored, though. Oh, they gave up a dunk with 14.1 to go.
InGame Live, PrimeTime, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Not long after Barstool decided to stop their operations as far as taking bets, they've partnered up here with DraftKings to do a lot of their promotions.
It was announced that there would be this non-compete clause for Barstool, meaning that, they couldn't partner with any other sports book. Obviously, DraftKings and other sports books are seen as kind of competitors of Penn.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live. Prime time here, 25 past the hour of number 2 of our 2-hour extravaganza. So we got the number 1 Huskies with the black cloud on them, trailing by double digits, 39-25. They lost by 15 to Seton Hall, so that's not their biggest lead or deficit of the season, but it's pretty darn close, I will tell you that. Bad start early on. If you want to hop on board, I always put a couple shekels to the side, Dave, to have to double down, if you will. And right now they're down 14. Well, they're down 14. I tell you, a lot of respect. They're down 14, and they're still only getting 6.5. I know they were a favorite and all that, but they're making it tough for you to really kind of think you're going to get like 8, 9, 10 because they're down 14 with the boys in Vegas. That's not happening. But you get a plus 6.5 if you like.
Too many open looks. I mean, I don't want to say the game's over, but the game looks over. We're not getting enough. Like I want to take 9.5 if I'm taking UConn at this point. Game's going over the total. That's pretty clear. Listen, Creighton needed a game like this. They needed a game to get the ball movement, get the open looks. They can take this one into the half up 10. Again, nothing's a wrap in college basketball, especially against the number 1 ranked team, but it's setting up perfectly for them. Did you take a peek at the hockey real quick? Did you see what happened in Pittsburgh? Did you see what happened?
Wow. 4-4. What happened to 3-3? We skipped right past 3-3.
We skipped ahead. The Islanders were up 3-2, scored the 4th goal. It was 4-2. We took a quick little break. We came back. I hit refresh. It's 4-4. Thanks for coming. Just like that. It can happen fast in the hockey, man. That's quick.
Poor Patrick Waugh. He's got to be just beside himself, right? I mean,
he's fine.
They blew a 5-2 lead yesterday, right? Well, not yesterday, but Sunday. Against the Rangers in the outdoor game. 5-2, a 3-goal lead. They 3-goal lead in hockey. That's it. Ball game over. Just go home, right? Not with
in the
Islanders.
Third.
In the third, right?
Right.
Now they're blowing a 4-2 lead in the third. Poor George Kurtz. He's just got to be kicking themselves. They're not putting a lineup right now. I don't see one, so I don't know if someone's on a power play or someone scored again.
I think something's under review. We got to wait and see.
Okay.
That last goal, I think, might be under review. I'm not changing the channel. I'm watching this. UConn game. So just wanted to keep you abreast of that. The Senators tied the Panthers 2-2.
Yeah. How about that?
The Capitals opened up 5-1 against the Devils. Write that one off. That one's done for the Devils bettors.
That's done.
And did you see what happened in Colorado? I'm just saying. I don't want to bring it up, but okay. So
1-0 Ducks.
We got no goal though. No goal in the first 10 minutes.
No,
so we're
first 5.
One check mark there. So you're one leg in on the same game parlay. So that's good.
1 down, 3 to go. We'll take that, even though we're down 1-0, but still.
Yeah.
That's not good. But mostly I got to get Ovechkin. We got to get McKinnon to score. That's the main thing. And we'll bring up the Austin Matthews stuff tomorrow. Another goal yesterday for Austin Matthews. We got a shot at cashing that ticket, Dave. We still need some help. They play tomorrow in Arizona, so we'll get into it a little more tomorrow. But that 28-1 Austin Matthews, 15 goals in the month of February is alive and kicking. I will tell you that.
Oh, hello.
Unlike UConn. What's that?
Okay. No. What do you got going on here? Where are we going? Where are we going next with this? I see this planet and all this other stuff. What are we doing?
I don't know. I'm not sure what that is, to tell you the truth.
I thought
that's just there.
Alternate
universe. Oh, yeah. Sorry, we got a couple late hockey games going on. Starting here in a little while. So we need to make some money. So instead of laying odds, maybe we could put odds in our favor with some of these games, as long as we're willing to kind of lay a couple of goals or maybe have the game go a little bit higher or lower than we're expecting. So how about a little alternate universe action in the NHL tonight? Yes. A little alternate universe. That's what we can do here with these new books that offer you all kind of goofy bets. So instead of, in the case of Vegas, we'll use that one first. Actually, we'll use the Kings first. Instead of laying big money with the LA Kings, who wants to do that? Maybe we could find a way that instead of laying 245, we could actually get odds if we're willing to lay a couple of goals or an over-under there. So alternate spreads on FanDuel. You see some of the lines there. It's LA. They're playing good hockey. They fired their head coach. They're 3-1 since they're 4-1 rather since the new coach came on board. Columbus hasn't won back-to-back games literally since Thanksgiving, which is just amazing. 0-10 after a win over the last 2+ months. So that's where I'm looking, Dave. I'm thinking. The LA Kings, I don't really like laying 2.5, but you're not getting anything 1.5. So give me the LA Kings, hopefully a couple of empty netters, and we're going to grab the Kings laying 2.5 tonight. What do you think?
Wow. I thought you were going to tell me you were taking Columbus minus anything. Okay.
Can't do that.
Yeah, I was going to say, you brought this one out of the mothballs. Alternate universe. I didn't want you to go, in a time warp and try to take the Blue Jackets. Listen, swing for the fences. If you're going to do it, do the Kings minus 3.5, 4-1. That's the final score. 4-1. That's the odds. 4-1. There you go. 4-1 final. Columbus team total under, and the Kings get 4. Kings team total over. You can play all kind of different bets there. But there you go. That's your trip to the alternate universe there.
All right. That's not bad. We got the second game, Matt, with
we do. I saw it.
Nashville and Vegas.
There. Yes.
There we go. All right, pop that up there. Let's see where we can find a winner there. Let me check out my computer here.
This one's scary because I think this is a dead under. So laying a 1.5, very scary with either team. But taking a 1.5, it's not really an alternate spread. But Nashville plus 1.5, I know you don't like to lay that juice. But minus 205, I'm good with it. I think it's a 1-goal game. This one might go to overtime. I'd actually consider making that bet too. But I want to take a 1.5 in a game with a total of 5.5 over or 6 under and take the dog. So if you're on your own, I'll hit the eject button in the co-pilot seat and let you ride somewhere in the alternate universe by yourself.
I'm gonna take your advice. Low scoring game. Vegas coming off a shutout of San Jose. They got to keep it rolling here at home. How about under 4.5 goals plus 280?
Now we're talking. That's alternate total? I didn't even know this was an option.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if they have those numbers or not, but do we see it up there? Yeah, it's so far away my screen, but yeah, under 4.5 plus 280.
There is no chance you can even see the screen from where you're at. So I'll help you through it. It's 4. Yeah, it's 4.5. That's good. I like that under 4.5. We'll go under 4.5. Wait a second. It says minus.
Still a decent amount of goals. I'm surprised.
Yeah.
I'm surprised we're getting that big of a price.
There it is. No, over is 4.5. Is minus 560. Okay. Under 4.5 plus 370. Wow. We get one goal in the first period. Now. That in-game total goes to 4.5. We're good. We'll take our shot pregame. Under 4.5. Okay. Yeah. I like it.
Yeah, right? Not too bad. Not too bad. It's still a half week. 3-1, 3-0. Can't be 2-2, but 4-0. Nashville, I don't know how they're going to respond. But I'll take, well, why not?
They
Let's
kept
go
them
under
out of the
4.5.
sphere. They're going to be, right? I mean, I didn't even know
Yeah.
that. So,
Yeah, how goofy is that?
yeah, he figured he'd get a good effort out of them tonight. Let's go. That's good.
So, all right. Not bad. That goal counted, right, for Pittsburgh? I imagine that was the one they were looking at because it is 4-4. We got lines.
4-4 back to minus 130. So that plus 260 worked out okay if you grabbed it. And now you
Very
can
nice.
take plus 102. Take your free bet, like you like to say, with the Islanders. There you go. Puck line's off. Here we go. We're under 2 minutes. So
How about overtime? Overtime I'm surprised they're giving us a line with Florida and Ottawa. You want to lay a $1.56 with Florida? They're going to really lose to Ottawa at home? Although Ottawa's playing better of late.
can't stand those overtimes. I'm telling you. The
know.
problem, if they don't win in overtime, I can't win a shootout. I told Ranieri last night,
Yeah.
I'm like 1 for the season on the shootouts. So I get nervous when it gets to overtime.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't do that. 1-0 still, 4.5 minutes left to go, first period. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. Come on, Colorado. Please. Colorado. Come on. Cam Stewart will join us. Talk some pucks and golf with him.
Nikola Jokic is the best player in the NBA until proven otherwise. Like, you have that guy on your team, you win 50 games, it's really that simple.
There is voter fatigue, and I think that is the only thing you have to be careful about when you deal with the NBA is there voter fatigue in regards to who should win the MVP? When you look at the odds, and obviously you get, no Halliburton.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
It's going to fall 6, 7, or 8, right? This is going to fall 6, 7, or 8. 6 you lose, 7 you push, 8 you win. So it's going to come down to the end.
And he missed the 3, and they are not going to foul. They're not going to foul. He just drove and scored, though. Oh, they gave up a dunk with 14.1 to go.
InGame Live, Prime Time, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Not long after Barstool decided to stop their operations as far as taking bets, they've partnered up here with DraftKings to do a lot of their promotions.
It was announced that there would be this non-compete clause for Barstool, meaning that, they couldn't partner with any other sports book. Obviously, DraftKings and other sports books are seen as kind of competitors of Penn.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's in-game live prime time here on a Tuesday evening. Scott Wetzel, Dave Sharapan until 10 p.m. Eastern time. We got some pucks. We got some baskets, including number one UConn losing by double digits at the half. Let's talk it all with our good buddy Cam Stewart, who takes over top of the hour with Gabe Morency. What's going on, Cam? How are you tonight, bud?
Hey, Scott, how you guys doing? Yeah, no, crazy stuff in the NCAA, like Syracuse winning outright, too, and there's a lot of things going on here. Hockey, Dave's in a dogfight as Penguins against the Islanders. Like, I didn't see this coming with the Capitals. Like, I thought, I kind of like the Devils getting a little bit hotter. I was wrong on that game. When we're wrong, we're wrong. Hockey first, guys, coming up. Seems like a short price with Vegas. Like, I know it opened 35. I'm seeing 50 cents. Dave, you know this team. Like, Nashville's kind of an erratic, weird team, and they show up sometimes, but Vegas at home should be able to take care of business, you would think. Like, Nashville's a weird team, though. You never know what you're going to get from the Predators. They could look awful or they could look really good. They're a very, very hard team to gauge, but I lean Vegas. The Kings are already part of a second parlay, but I'll take them -1.5. This team looks like they're turning the corner. I know Columbus can be gritty, but I really like the way LA's playing. And guys, I don't know if it's enough. This could be a trap, but great shooting half by Creighton. These Blue Jays at home, they hit everything. Every three, bang, 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 bang. So is it enough at 7.5, 8.5, guys? Like, you tell me. This could be a runaway game for the Blue Jays, but you're going to give me UConn at even 7.5. A little sprinkle right there, fellas. I think that's what we're going to do right now. And been a wild night. Like, lots of sports going on. So hopefully you guys are doing well. The Devils killed me. Other than that, things are going well. Waiting for if the Avalanche tied it up, I'll come back with Vancouver. I think it's a very, very good spot for the Vancouver Canucks tonight, guys. Like, after losing the way they did to Minnesota, Dave, you know my style. It's a play on. Yep. You lose a 10-7 game with Rick Tocchet. He's reading these guys the riot act. Like, it wasn't pretty probably the last few nights. And Vancouver understands we're a young team. We have a division lead. We can't be throwing away points like this. You got to take care of business. If you can find a way to get it done in Colorado. So I like the Vancouver Canucks tonight. They're already up 1-0. I was hoping Colorado would score first to come back on Vancouver. But if the Avs tie it, I'll smash Vancouver again.
Yep. Wetzel's on. The Black Cloud play of the night is UConn. So that's not going. That's Wetzel. Going exactly where the Black Cloud goes. He went
His
all
clouds
in on
have been
that.
good, Dave. I've enjoyed Wetzel's.
I know.
Great forecast lately. Dark cloud.
The same game parlay. He has the Avalanche in regulation. He needs McKinnon to score a goal. He kind of pushed all the chips in on the Avalanche. So you come on and not know that and say you like the Canucks. That's perfect par for the course. Now, there's the same game parlay. So we got the no goal in the first 5 minutes. So we got one leg. We're going to put a big green check mark on that as we going forward. We're going to, make it a TV show and add all these fun little things as we go. So that's one thing. But I got a good piece of information from Kurtz, Cam.
Yeah.
The Nashville Predators were here already, and they had planned to go to the Sphere to see U2 while the Knights were up in San Jose shutting out the Sharks. Then apparently they didn't play so good in the last game, and they canceled the trip to the Sphere to see U2. So they're a little mad. You know how these things go when they tell you that. They hit you with this stuff late and say, hey, we're going to Vegas. We're going to see U2 at the Sphere the night before the game. And then they go, oh, you know what? You guys can stay in your rooms. In fact, you can order room service. You can't leave. So
that's amazing, Dave.
I think Nashville's going to give a really good effort tonight. I like the under in the game. But how about that? Do you like U2? Would you go see U2 at the Sphere? Are you a big U2 guy?
Nah, I got to be honest with you, Dave. When I was younger, I liked their old albums like War and stuff like that. As I got older, I'm just not really a Bono guy. They're a band that, you know what it is, Dave? It's just U2. They're just a little bit too, I don't know what the word is for me. I don't know, prissy? Is that fair? Or like, I don't know. I'm just like, I liked them better when they were like a poor band from Ireland. And then now Bono's telling us about our carbon footprint, dude. Relax. Just sing songs. I don't care. You're not environmental. I'm not. Okay, how about the forest? Whatever. These guys are flying everywhere around the world. I don't need a lecture, Bono. Just sing your damn songs and go to the Sphere, and I'll keep on betting sports. So not really. No. Hey, if you gave me free tickets, maybe, but not a real huge fan or anything like that. Most bands, I'm more a classic rock guy, or you know what I mean. Like there's. I got to be honest with you. I'm not really. Why are you a fan, Dave?
No, I'm with you. I liked it when I was in college.
Yes,
and
exactly.
Now I wouldn't take
Yes.
free tickets to go, but like Peralt went to see them. He said he loved it. I don't know what condition he was in. Visually, the Sphere is amazing. I've only been on the outside, haven't been in to see a show. All right, let's go back to the basketball. San Francisco's playing St. Mary's. St. Mary's is the best team in that West Coast Conference. It's not Gonzaga. That number looks suspiciously low to me.
It does.
7.5. Right?
Great call. Great
what's
call
the deal
by
with
you.
that game?
I almost want to bet St. Mary's or like put that's Dave. I can't believe like you're reading my mail. The first thing I said was my notes. I was going to say I would have thought St. Mary's would be 9.5 in this game, not 7.5, 9, 8.5 on low end, not 7.5. The St. Mary's Gales have been one of the best teams for months. They beat Gonzaga. Like they've just been fantastic. Like they're really, really solid. I know San Francisco, the Dons, like they can grind, but I'm taking St. Mary's. And if this is a trap, I got to write that. Remember, those trap lines usually go the other way, but I can't let that line scare me, Dave. I still think St. Mary's should be able to take care of business, win by like 12. The Gales are better than the Dons. It's that simple, and they're at home. But Scott, are you suspicious with that game too? It looks a little bit trappish to me, and you know how I get with my traps.
Yeah, they're pretty good this year, though, San Fran. They're 10-2 in conference play, 21-6 overall. I like the under. I always play unders in St. Mary games. They put 100 points on the board their last game, so I'm a little leery about that. But I will tell you, the Gales, after scoring 100 points, 8-0 against the spread their next game. So that they don't tap out, that next game. They come full force, apparently. So, yeah, it's kind of like you got to prove, especially in the WCC, right? You got to really prove you're on that level. This is one of those show-me games for San Francisco. So if I had to, I would go St. Mary's, but I am playing the under in the game.
Yeah, I'm leaning under as well. I'm playing St. Mary's. Live games going on right now. Even though people are going to take Baylor, I like BYU at home. Right now it's 2.5. I'd lay $1.60 as well. This TCU Texas Tech game looks interesting to me. I know a lot of people will like the Red Raiders at home. I'll know one thing about TCU. They play real tight games, guys. You guys, have you seen TCU's results? It's like every game within a basket or two. They just play really tight basketball. I kind of like them tonight. I think that's the play. I'm on TCU, the Horned Frogs in that game. We'll take a shot with oh, guys, I'm telling you, I just got a bad like this is the ultimate. Like, what do the books want right now? People are coming back hard on UConn against Creighton. And Creighton, if they keep on hitting their shots, they're just going to smoke these guys. But you know what? We're getting multiple points, guys. They're down 14. This game is not over. We've seen college basketball before, a tale of two halves. So little small play. I feel better. Dave, you got me thinking about this hockey stuff now with Nashville. Like, plus, wow, the line's gone down since we've talked. It opened out. I was here on FanDuel Ontario. It was minus 152. Since we've been talking, down to 146. People are listening to Dave's you can't go to the U2 concert with Nashville getting punished by their coach for bad play, and they're in Vegas. Nope, can't hit the tables, guys. No drinks, no horse book. You stay in your rooms and you play, and you better beat the Vegas Golden Knights tonight. But I'm not stepping down from the Kings. I think this is a spot for the LA Kings now. I know they've been deplorable at home, guys, but I'm getting minus 1.5 plus 105. I will take the LA Kings to beat Columbus. I lean over in that hockey game too, even though LA doesn't really score a lot sometimes at home. I think they're a different team now. I really like what I saw in that comeback win against Boston over the weekend. We were on them. They scored late. They won in overtime with that kid Clark coming right out of the penalty box. That was one of the best games I've seen all season. So we're going to ride the Kings. I think they can start to figure this thing out here and be a second half team, fellas.
I haven't recovered from the Genesis Open and all the golf betting
Nor
that
have
I got
Dave.
involved in because of our talks. I'm taking off this week, though. Are you looking? I know you never take a week off.
Oh, Dave. See, that's the whole problem.
That's un-American, for goodness
Dave,
sakes.
you know what? I'm with Wetzel. Not with your American green money and my Canadian brown bills, Dave. We do not take any time off in North American sport. When you get close with a guy, that's the problem, Dave. There's nothing worse than a close shave. I have Zalatoris. How do I stop now? He should have won the tournament. I can't stop. Wetzel knows. That's the worst thing you could do is have a guy in second. Oh, dude, we're going to Mexico hard, Dave. Get to Mexico and get the margaritas ready. Don't worry, I'll get golf picks for you guys tomorrow night. Me and Carver.
Thank goodness.
We went bananas. No, see, Dave, I have issues. You're a smart man going, oh, we got close, and that Hideki comeback
is this a weird field? Like, I haven't looked at anything yet. So
Tony Finau's the favorite at 6-1. You want to talk about a weird field? They should call this the Tony Finau Invitational and Friends and Not So Friends. Like, it's Tony Finau. Like, dude, he's like, there's nobody here. Like, this is literally a tournament for like a guy like Nasty Nate Lashley, my buddy, at 75-1. All these other turkeys, Mark Hubbard, what's in your cupboard at 55-1. Like, hey, I'll tell you this: the wins will pick up in Mexico.
There's got to be a long shot winning, Cam.
Oh,
right? There's got to be a long shot winning.
You know what it is, too, Wetzel, though? I'm playing this, and we'll give you the full slate of picks tomorrow. But this is really good because these European tour guys, they're like, wow, Scheffler's taking the week off. JT's taking the week off. Shoffley, Cantlay. So it's Tony Finau and friends. So all these guys from the European tour, they're licking their chops, like Højgaard and Thomas Dietrich and Ryan, who's in the foxhole. So all these other guys are like, wow. And you're getting good price on the Euros instead of like, I would have had Dietrich at 18-1. I got him at 25. He's almost won on the PGA Tour multiple times. So you're getting world-class European players that can play in wind. That's the whole thing about this tournament, guys. And the course's defense is wind. Find guys from Texas or Euros. They play really well. You need a low ball flight here in Mexico. It's a bomber's paradise, too. Long course, 7,600 plus. So Tony Finau, he does it all. Low ball flight. That's why he does really well here. But I can't bet a guy at 6-1 in this field. We'll take him live if we need to.
You know, one thing about last week, Cam, I didn't realize that the opposing player, your playing partner, keeps your score. I just thought your caddy kept your score.
No,
so the opposing player keeps your score. So if you just believe in him, you sign your scorecard at the end of the day, and if he puts wrong numbers down, you're kicked out. Well, that's what happened to Jordan Spieth.
I guess you double-check your work.
You know, if DeChambeau was teamed up with some guy that he doesn't like, or, you know, I mean, I'm surprised that doesn't happen all the time.
Yeah, like all these guys hate Rory. They're like, you know what? I really hate that Rory McIlroy. Yeah. Let's give him a 5 instead of a 4. See if he doubles checks my work. Like,
see if he catches.
That's what I said, Scott. That's why I said computers. Okay, I'm not all down with everything computers, but literally, guys taking their own scorecards on paper. That's just come on. What is this? The 1950s? I told you this isn't Leave It to Beaver. We got computers to monitor scores. We should not be sharing other guys' scorecards. Like that's archaic. It's ridiculous. It's nuts.
13.5, boys. Yeah. It's 13.5 with UConn right now.
Leads up to 21. They came out,
hit 2 more
I had a bad feeling about those Blue Jays. Chirp, cheap.
13.5.
Creighton is on fire. Yeah, now we got that's the old lasso special, right, Wetzel? Roping us in.
Yeah.
I'd say I'd cheer for Colorado, but I got money on Vancouver, Scott. We all got problems. You got bills to pay. I got bills to pay. Love you, brother.
I may triple down on Connecticut one more time.
Oh, don't do this. No, I've been there before. Arizona State. 59's good. We're good. Oh, they lost 63-0. Yeah, please don't do it, Scott. Yeah, dark cloud storm.
We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Later, buddy.
Hey, Cam.
Nikola Jokic is the best player in the NBA until proven otherwise. Like, you have that guy on your team, you win 50 games, it's really that simple.
There is voter fatigue, and I think that is the only thing you have to be careful about when you deal with the NBA is there voter fatigue in regards to who should win the MVP? When you look at the odds, and obviously you get, no Halliburton.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
This is going to fall 6, 7, or 8, right? This is going to fall 6, 7, or 8. 6 you lose, 7 you push, 8 you win. So it's going to come down to the end.
And he missed the 3, and they are not going to foul. They're not going to foul. He just drove and scored, though. Oh, they gave up a dunk with 14.1 to go.
InGame Live, Prime Time, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Not long after Barstool decided to stop their operations as far as taking bets, they've partnered up here with DraftKings to do a lot of their promotions.
It was announced that there would be this non-compete clause for Barstool, meaning that, they couldn't partner with any other sports book. Obviously, DraftKings and other sports books are seen as kind of competitors of Penn.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's InGame Live, prime time, wrapping up shop here. Thanks again to Cam Stewart for joining us, as he always does every Tuesday, Wednesday. Really, I think throughout the week, but I'm here just Tuesday and Wednesdays. He'll take over top of the hour with Gabe Morency. They'll take you over the next 3 hours right here on SportsGrid TV, as well as the SportsGrid Radio. So no doubt they'll be talking a lot about the number one UConn, Dave, as they're down now 17, which actually it was 21 a moment ago. They cut into that deficit a little bit, but wow, not from start to finish basically for Creighton tonight. 10.5. I wouldn't suggest that. And pretty soon now you just start, maybe betting Creighton. Just say, it's just not going to happen for Connecticut tonight. They're giving you half a decent number. Didn't like Wisconsin. They're up 8 against Maryland, laying 10.5, and then Utah State, that home unranked team system. They're leading San Diego State 31-26, and they're laying 5.5. And then BYU's up 7 against Baylor, late first half, 40-33. Any final thoughts on that in the NHL? Who won? Pittsburgh Islanders, who ended up winning.
Islanders overtime. 5-4. That's just
wow.
Listen, I told you before, like the Penguins are literally aging in dog years. This is the end of the empire. They're talking about trading Malkin, or they went and got Carlson. I don't know. Maybe they'll trade Letang. They're not trading Crosby, but it's not working. And on a night where they score 4 goals, they give up 5. So, Penguins did not make the playoffs. I've been talking about it on Bostonian versus the book and a couple other people back home in Pittsburgh. If you didn't already bet the Penguins to not make the playoffs, you probably should. It might be too late. The price might be too high. But done. Kaput. Finished. It's kind of a bummer. But this is the way these things end.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. They don't fall off a cliff. It's kind of like slowly, and it's just, it's hard to just make it fall off a cliff, unless you really just traded all these guys, but you can't do that, right? So.
Right.
All right, good job, Dave. As always, my friend. We'll do it again tomorrow.
Excellent
Hopefully,
work,
we'll rebound with some winners. Let's go, UConn. Big comeback.